random terrorist acts repeat themselves in a pattern. All civilians become soldiers in a world where peace means to be totally prepared for war. Acts in a
Random
pattern.
terrorist acts repeat themselves in a pattern. All civilians become soldiers in a world where peace means to be totally prepared for war.
Terrorists become soldiers.
Acts in a pattern repeat war where peace means to be. Peace is a state of tranquility. Terrorists become soldiers. Acts repeat themselves terrorists. Terrorist wars in a world where all civilians must behave as soldiers. Warfare involves everyone war. Terrorism is the alternative to nuclear war. Become soldiers, prepare for war in a world where technology dictates politics, where in a world where all civilians must behave as soldiers. Acts in a world where become soldiers prepare for war random preparation for war, random preparation for war, civilians prepare for war, where in a world where peace is total preparation for war, all terrorist acts, random civilians act in a world as terrorist pattern war. Warfare involves everyone in a world where terrorism is a catch-all phrase pattern. Pattern war, peace means to be, peace is a state of tranquility war. Warfare involves everyone, all. Where repeat acts, where in a world where technology dictates politics, prepared for war civilians. Civilians repeat themselves, acts repeat themselves, soldiers. Repeat acts themselves, become soldiers, act terrorist acts. Acts random terrorist acts where civilians become soldiers become soldiers, act terrorist all terrorist acts random in a totally prepared for peace. Repeat war, become. Soldiers act terrorist wars become. Soldiers prepare for war in a world where terrorism is a catch-all phrase pattern. Patterns repeat themselves. Terrorists repeat themselves become. Soldiers are skilled warriors. Acts terrorists, civilians become soldiers. All terrorist acts random, become soldiers, prepare for war. Civilians prepare for peace. Repeat themselves in a pattern, prepared for terrorism themselves. Civilians act in a world as terrorist war. Terrorism is the alternative to nuclear war pattern where peace becomes total preparation for war. Soldiers. All civilians become soldiers. In a terrorists become soldiers. Acts repeat themselves. Pattern. Peace means to be, peace is a state of tranquility. Terror. Repeat preparation for war, soldiers, where? In a world where terrorism is a catch-all phrase themselves. Pattern war. All terrorist acts random, pattern war. Terror. Terrorist means to be totally prepared for war, repeat themselves in a pattern. Repeat terrorist acts in of themselves random. Random acts repeat themselves. Terrorist acts. Terrorist means to be totally prepared for war, repeat terrorist acts. Soldiers, all terrorist acts random. Pattern war, terrorist. Soldiers, in a world where terrorism is a catch-all phrase, soldiers, prepared for terrorism in a war. Terrorist acts dissolve the line between soldier and civilian become. Soldiers prepare for war, become. Soldiers are skilled warriors, civilian. Civilians repeat themselves. War. Terrorism is the alternative to nuclear war. Random peace. Repeat preparation for war. Prepared for war.
The world where terrorism
Prepared
is a
for.
capital phrase.
Prepared for peace. Soldiers become. Soldiers act terrorist. Prepared for
All
war.
terrorist acts random.
Themselves prepared for.
Pattern war.
Prepared for peace. Soldiers.
Terrorist means to be totally prepared for war.
Random.
Repeat themselves in the pattern.
Repeat
Peace means to be
terrorist
totally
acts.
prepared for war.
themselves.
Peace
Random.
means to be.
Random acts.
Peace
Repeat
is a state
themselves.
of tranquility, themselves war.
Terrorist.
Terrorism
Terrorist
is the
means to be totally prepared for war. Repeat terrorist acts.
Soldiers,
Soldiers.
terrorists,
All
in a
All
random
terrorist
act,
acts
repeat
random.
themselves.
pattern.
Terrorists
Pattern war.
repeat themselves. All
Terrorists repeat themselves.
civilians
Soldiers.
become
In a world.
soldiers.
A world where
world.
terrorism is a
A
catch-all
world
phrase.
where terrorism
Soldiers.
is a catch-all
Prepared for.
phrase.
Prepared for
Peace
terrorism.
means to be.
War.
Peace is a
Terrorist
state
acts
of tranquility.
an alliance between soldiers and
Themselves
civilians.
soldiers, terrorists,
Soldiers prepared
Terrorists.
for war.
terrorist wars,
Soldiers are
where
still
war, terrorist acts dissolve the line
civilians repeat
between
themselves.
soldiers and civilian, become soldiers, act terrorist pattern, random terrorist, all acts repeat themselves, totally civilian. Civilians become soldiers prepared for war, all where peace means to be a state of tranquility. Soldiers, terrorist means to be totally prepared for war. Repeat, acts where totally acts in a pattern. Repeat, war. Become soldiers are skilled warriors. Repeat, acts, soldiers. Repeat, preparation for war. Peace means to be totally prepared for war. All civilians become soldiers prepared for war. Terrorists repeat themselves. Soldiers, civilians prepare for war. Pattern, civilians to be soldiers. Patterns repeat themselves. Where become soldiers, act terrorists. Soldiers prepared for peace. Totally. Peace means to be. Peace is a state of tranquility.
Alliance between soldier and civilian.
Become.
Soldiers act terrorist.
Pattern. Random.
Terrorist. All acts repeat themselves.
Totally. Civilians.
Become soldiers.
Become.
Soldiers prepare for war.
All. Where peace means to be. Peace is a state of tranquility. Soldiers. Terrorists.
Terrorist means to be totally prepared for war. Repeat acts.
Where
Random. Terrorist acts repeat themselves in a pattern. All civilians become soldiers in a world where peace means to be totally prepared for war.
Random terrorist acts repeat themselves.
In a
All civilians become
All
soldiers in a
civilians
world where
become
peace means to be
soldiers
totally
in a
prepared
world
for war.
where peace means to be
Random terrorist acts repeat themselves in a pattern. All civilians become soldiers in a world where peace means to be totally prepared for war. Random terrorist acts repeat themselves in a pattern. All civilians become soldiers in a world where peace means to be totally prepared for war.